Pounders, welcome back. Tonight we're going to be doing some playoff best ball with a buddy that I met at the Dog Bowl contest. Chad, welcome to the live stream, man.
Thanks for having me.
You go by Lee on Underdog. I'm sure people will recognize the username. You are one of the grinders in this space.
Yeah, Lee with way too many numbers that don't actually make any logical sense. So
I love it. I love it. It's just like a Crash Rich situation. Yep. It's just like I am a computer.
Yeah, something like that. I am known for the spreadsheet, so it is.
Let's go. Yeah. So we have some pretty damn big news that comes out today with Sam Laporta practicing in limited fashion, which, I mean, if you're drafting him at this point, he's a last round pick, and my God, he should be going much sooner after that news. I mean, even Detroit's outlook to win this game looks better, even just with the possibility of him playing, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. Laporta, I had been fading him mostly because I had a suspicion on the Rams moving forward. And I know I'm not the only one who felt that way. I heard Nick on yesterday talking about the Rams, but Laporta can definitely be a game changer, even if he's a decoy. And when we're drafting these playoff ones, it doesn't matter if he's a decoy for 1 week, as long as they get through. So
true. That's very true. And you have the Lions -3. It's the highest scoring game on the slate, 1 point behind the Cowboys Packers. But how much are you leaning into the Rams? Is this like an 80%, 20% on your portfolio, or is it like a 60-40?
No, it's a more recent thing. So it's not even at 60-40 yet, but it's I was light on the exposure, and I felt like they paired well with Baltimore and Buffalo, because you can grab Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen on the front end, and then grab Kyron in the third, Puka in the fourth, Kupp in the sixth. So it just, as I was doing more of these, I was realizing how well it pairs with it, and why can't the Rams get there? They have the guys who have gotten there before. We know they concentrated offense. So one way or another, I felt good about them, and I wanted to up that exposure. So.
Yeah. And I actually have something for the fellas, ladies, and gents in the Discord. This was available for the Patreon members a little earlier, but I just posted this tonight in the Best Ball cheat sheet section. This is assuming the 2 seeds beat the 7 seeds, and it just kind of eliminates some of those options. Doesn't mean you can't go ahead and build the Green Bay stack. Like, sure you can, but this is going to tell you, assuming the Bills beat the Steelers, it's going to kind of condense it down a little bit of what can happen, what will happen, and what teams go best with the other teams. These are the highest spread games as well. Like Green Bay are 7-point underdogs. You have the Steelers, who are 9-point underdogs now, down from 10-point underdogs yesterday, though. That should at least be noted. So maybe some of the money going Pittsburgh's way. But it does sort of help you formulate a plan that is a little more condensed. And I think it does, at least for me, where I'm not maxing every contest. I like to make these concentrated bets of what's going to happen and then try to exploit that.
Yeah. I agree completely. That Pittsburgh one is interesting. That's the first time I've seen that down. And I know the total's dropping on that like crazy too with the weather that they're forecasting. We know weather can negate the QB advantage, and that's definitely what Buffalo has over Pittsburgh. So if Najee can get going, Najee and Jalen Waddle.
Dude.
Jalen Warren. But
Najee going for how many touches this week? 22 and a half? Will you take the over under?
I'd take the under just because I think Warren's going to be a factor in there too, but it's going to be slow. So I'd be surprised if either team wants to push in that environment. So
yeah, no doubt. And the Steelers, they probably have to play this one on the ground, keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, and sort of win like a close game that way. I think that's their best case scenario of winning this game. Are you drafting any Steelers besides maybe like a one-off to push through like a Baltimore San Fran?
I have drafted one-offs 2 times, maybe 3 times, but I don't have any Steelers paired as a Super Bowl team at all. So I think that's
I,
a
I don't
bridge too far to build anything around it.
I don't think I've done it yet, but I definitely have some Tampa Bay. And
Mhm.
Tampa Bay, they arguably have a tougher road to the Super Bowl, at least in my opinion, having to eventually what we would think is get by San Fran. But their defense, right? Like
Mhm.
defense
Yeah,
is brutal.
yeah, without a doubt. But that also, I mean, if Tampa's going to get there, their offense is going to have to carry you. So, like, the
Mhm.
upside is a little bit higher
Right.
to build it out than Pittsburgh. If they're getting there, it is ugly. So, like, there's
No
the
doubt.
upside
No
is
doubt.
much tougher.
Right. So you could you could have the right Super Bowl matchup with Pittsburgh, but if you're drafting too many of those pieces, they're probably not going to hit to be able to get you there. So you might have to get there with two pieces if that was
Yeah.
ever going to happen. That I do definitely agree with that take. Um, I have been taking a lot of Tampa Bay as if they're going to play in 2 games. I will say that. Not as much kind of focusing beyond that, but getting that second game, Mike Evans, Godwin, White, I think those guys are all in play. Are you doing anything further than that?
No, I'm not planning on anything further than that. I'm
Mhm.
soaking up a little bit of the Philly drop just because, like, we know what they can be. Yes, they are not looking good the last few weeks, but if they start clicking, I just
Mhm.
feel that's a much better upside play than the Tampa side. But I'll use it to fill out. I'm using them more as the get me through 1 or 2
Yeah.
rounds piece, and
Yeah.
then, I mean, if they go further than that, it's gravy, but I'm probably going to get knocked out by somebody who stacked a Tampa team.
I completely agree with that. I think that's sort of the right way to approach this as well. I mean, they could lose in round 1 very well, but I think the way you're drafting and I'm drafting, you're using that Mike Evans piece to get you through or that Godwin piece at the end.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and it is the receivers I'm leaning on more so than
mhm.
White for sure.
Yeah, Eagles D pass funnel for sure.
Yep.
Um, some of these rankings. Now, what are you doing with Isaiah Likely with the news that Andrews is designated to come back? Are you pushing him down? Are you with this new news? Are you going to avoid Likely altogether and just grab Andrews on the back end with like Odell and some of these other pass catchers?
With the news, I'd be pushing likely down into the Odell range, honestly.
Mhm.
Andrews is going to be in the same area for me. The other thing that's factoring in for me, though, is I was telling you before the show, likely is my highest Raven as is. So I want to get that down
Yeah, yeah,
without a
yeah,
doubt. So if I didn't have that as a consideration, I'd probably take likely a round ahead of
yeah.
Odell and try and pull both of them
Mhm.
through. I don't mind going with likely Andrews either through it. So
Yeah,
likely Andrews, when you're talking a San Fran stack, that's tougher. I would want a different NFC team, most
yeah,
likely. But
yeah.
yeah, I I would expect to see likely drop for the last what do we have here? 18 hours before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've jumped in a few drafts today, and honestly, I think in only one out of maybe like the 10, 12 rooms did Andrews go like before the 5th round. So he's still very available to scoop in the 5th or the 6th. And Laporta, with that news, like we have to be bumping up Laporta, like
Yeah.
especially where these pieces for Detroit go already relatively late. Besides Amon Ra, um, Laporta deserves a huge bump. When whether you're playing the Ram side or the Detroit side, it can kind of make a difference on some of these other teams that you have, right? Like if you're drafting Cowboys, you're probably not going to bring in Lions.
Right.
If you have the Bucks, Eagles, that's fine. But again, like some of these pairings, and I think that's where it's just so much easier to say, hey, Cowboys beat the Packers, Bills beat the Steelers, and then you can kind of figure it out from there. So Bills wouldn't pair well with the Chiefs. You would assume if you're drafting
Mhm.
Dolphins, then you can pair them with the Ravens. It just kind of breaks it down a little more. But what do you say we jump into a draft room and we'll sort of see
Yeah,
what we get here?
definitely. Did you want? Yeah, we'll go through it together. Cool.
Yeah, it does get a little complex when you're both drafting, and it's like thinking out loud at the same time, being in the room with someone else, that like you can pivot so easily, and I don't have to.
No, definitely. And the other thing with that bracket too, and I was listening to another stream, but talking about the reseeding, man, Crutches is 100% right on that. But I will adjust to it, even if they won't. So
Yeah.
But the reseeding too, and how they all play together. So knowing that apparently puts you just slightly ahead of the rest of the field.
Here's one of the videos that Connor's referring to. He does not look after this ball as fast as he can, that's for sure. But even still, to say like there's a chance he returns next week, maybe, in limited fashion, whatever it may be, but to assume that he'll be more healthy the week after that, rather than he's guaranteed to miss this week.
And then you're hoping for the best next week. Like,
then you don't know, like the situation becomes a little more known for that following week.
Yeah, it's definitely like Andrew's, a play for not this week. It's for further down. So like if I'm building a Detroit-Baltimore team, I don't want to have only 5 guys, and Laporte is one of my 5, essentially. Right. I don't want to have to count on him.
Right. Oh, I agree with that. Some interesting stuff that I've been doing today and yesterday with Josh Allen here at 4 is also going Amon-Ra. Like if you're going to do this Buffalo-Detroit matchup, skipping over Diggs, who's actually been lackluster. Besides last week, he's had some pretty lackluster weeks. What do you think about this? And we can just go in AFC QB.
I like it, and I know what AFC side I want to go here. We'll see if it comes back to us. But
beautiful. But yeah, going Diggs. I'm sorry, going Josh Allen and then Amon-Ra, and sort of making that matchup around those two's definitely an interesting and less chalky than Josh Allen Diggs, and then going Gibbs.
Oh, I like that because I've gone Diggs Amon-Ra to build that matchup with Goff as a QB, but going the other route, it's an interesting angle to play it.
It's going to be much less owned, and then the people that have volume will probably have a Josh Allen Diggs Amon-Ra team. But
that's the other.
James Cook is very, very difficult.
The other nice thing about the 2 contests that are out right now, they're time boxed to this week, so you don't have to worry as much about those combinations like you did with the original Gauntlet and whatnot.
Right. And that's sort of what I was waiting for. I think I did just a few of the Gauntlet 1 just because I got into the format a little later into the season. Yeah. But you were still able to get different combinations, and if you sort of leverage that side of getting those different combinations that you couldn't get because of maybe falling Eagles or whatever it may be, and not trying to force the other combinations where you're probably outmatched, I think that's where you can sort of find some of your leverage in those contests that like they've been open for a long time. Plus, like those teams are going to have a ton of dead Jags in round 2, you name it, Indy.
Yeah, I definitely wish I had done more early or had done any early. Then I would have been jumping in there to kind of not hedge the bets, but change the bets and take advantage of how it's breaking now. But because I hadn't,
so Pacheco here hurts because we can't go KC now.
It is harder to go KC. I wouldn't say you can't go KC though.
All right. So. Correct. Do you still want to try to push? Do you still want to do this, or do you want to go Miami?
If I was going to go KC right now, I'd take Kelsey and Rice. But if you'd rather go Hill, go Hill.
Let's go Hill with this one. Miami doesn't pair well with KC. We can go Cleveland, or we can go like Brandon Cooks, Ferguson, and still focus like an AFC QB with 2 opponents on the opposite side. But again, we don't have.
I like going. I would go Cleveland and go Cooper here.
Okay. So my thought is just because if we're gonna go Tua here, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll just give ourselves a second option on the opposite side. But again, we can go Tua, Joe Flacco, and just say, hey, the Super Bowl opponent's gonna be San Fran. That's fine too.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the two different options you definitely have to weigh at that spot, and then it's just whichever one you want to do. Mm-hmm. I have been defaulting myself to the 2 QB, even though I know I'm not over leveraged one way or another, 2 QB versus 1, but I like keeping the multiple paths open with the QB getting there, and it can help you this round or next week too. So
right. I like that. And honestly, some of this comes down to knowing not which teams pair the best, but which ones to avoid is actually the easier thing to remember. So come in here, you go to the Discord, Best Ball cheat sheet section. We have San Fran and we have Miami. So Dolphins pair well with the Bills because they'll never play each other in round 2, assuming the Bills beat Pittsburgh. And then San Fran pairs well with Cowboys and Lions. And then there's also Eagles and Bucks, but it depends on if the Rams win who San Fran plays. So sort of keeping that in mind. This has to be probably HN here.
Yep.
Are you double tapping HN Mostert?
I have been, especially if I'm building out the Miami side of it, because there's nothing that says it can't be one and then the next week the other, and nothing that says it can't be both of them, especially if we're thinking double QB with it.
I agree with that too. All right, and then we can just sort of queue up. Let's queue up Ford, and where's Njoku? Is he gone? Njoku's gone. J5704 coming in here with the Bill Belichick. Oh man, thanks for the super chat, my man. RIP to one of the greatest coaches. Goddamn, if not the greatest.
I will say, what's King, the guy in the 5 spots team? He's San Fran, and he just took Njoku, right?
Yeah, he's got a little mixed bag.
What is he doing?
Does he have 5 teams already? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he's got 5 squads. It's hard to look into that.
Never mind. Okay.
It's hard to look into that.
I was thinking, did we need to protect Flacco? But, I mean,
maybe.
If we get sniped on Flacco, we get sniped on him. So.
You don't know. I like to push the QBs as much as possible. I wouldn't mind even doing this on the way back around.
Yeah.
And even if we just got 1 QB, it's not the end of the world.
Because then you are making
only one's going to be in the Super Bowl, right? So
yep.
Sort of making those concentrated bets.
Cleveland, Miami, AFC game.
So. Yeah. Exactly. And that's the other thing, just sort of understanding the bracket. Like understand the bracket. If Miami wins, they're playing the Ravens. The Browns are on the other side playing the Bills. It's like you're getting the maximum amount of games out of this combination, even though we have 2 AFC side.
Yeah. Yeah, the only way they could play in the second round is if the Steelers upset the Bills. And
right. Dude, my whole portfolio will be destroyed. So everyone just remember that. You could think of me crying.
Well, there goes Ford.
Well, I think we just double tap this because now we're already betting. Like we don't have a Cleveland running back. We could bring in Hunt at the end. It's kind of like we would have to.
What do you think about Tua, I think is for sure, but David Montgomery and building out Detroit as another option as a Super Bowl? Because you Miami Detroit.
We can. But if we have Miami, we could also just lean on these running backs and then grab like Laporta, J-Mo at the end.
Yep. Either way, I'm just throwing it out as another option for sure.
If I can stick to 2 running backs, I will. I don't know if I don't know if that's right or wrong in this position. It's probably not right or wrong. But There goes Sam Laporta. That's probably right to go
Yeah.
around this range. But with no other Detroit piece, unless he brings in David Monk, that's still fine. He's still got, what, 5 pieces? 1, 2, 3,
He does.
4, 5.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Jameson added on there. And there goes Montgomery, too.
Yeah. Now we still have 4, 5 pieces. Like we have 6, 7 for San Fran. Like we can still add on a one-off.
Yep.
And again, like Detroit pairs very well with San Fran because they're never going to play each other in round 2, right? Assuming.
Right. They will never play each other round 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a Detroit or a Dallas piece would be where I'd.
Yeah, so Dallas is kind of rough at this point. You're looking at what, Tolbert or Rico, and
yeah, it's not a great option, I don't think, of what we have left.
Cedric's in play. And again, this contest, this is going to be 2 out of 6 advance, then 1 out of 6, 1 out of 5. Cedric Wilson's like the leverage. He's like the leverage pick for the Super Bowl.
Stacks. Yeah.
Could bring in Elijah Mitchell too.
Yep.
Okay, this makes sense now. He went Laporta, JMO. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, Elijah Mitchell goes too. Kind of Max Payne.
We did not have a nice drafter right in front of us.
No, I don't love going Cleveland here.
No. I'd look NFC side. Goddard.
Honestly, we can go Goddard and just get 1 or 2 games out of him.
Yeah.
I think that's in play. Juwan Jennings is in play, but where we have to start, what? We have a lot of Miami pieces. You know what I mean? For 2 out of 6 advance, I think this has to happen.
Yeah. Godwin would have been another one if he's still there to look at as an advanced play.
I think Godwin went early.
Did he?
Yeah, dude. He went over here at 37.
Never mind. And Rashad, okay.
To the team that, like, be interesting to take a peek at that squad. Like, what with Staffy, dude? Yeah, that's a bad draft. Crazy.
That's one of those where it's a whole lot better of a draft if he took CD instead of CMC.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good by any stretch, but you're not automatically writing off. You're either writing off CMC there or you're writing off all your Rams. Like, there's no 2 ways about it.
Pickens makes sense for this team. I don't understand. So Mahomes is just like an advanced piece. I don't know why you do that with Mahomes in this type of game, but where you can probably just get 15 to 18 points out of any of those last 3 QBs, Stroud, even Baker against Philly.
Yeah,
that's
I guess the bet is that Mahomes is who you need at round 2 over Lamar, and that actually pushes him through 2 rounds. But
right.
It doesn't make sense. I'm just trying to reason it out, but
no. Let's jump into another one. Hopefully we'll definitely get a different start. It's not too common that you get Debo Ayuk. I know. What do you like doing there? Like if you're trying to get one of Purdy and Samuel with Purdy and Ayuk and you're in the 5 spot, what have you had the most success in doing? Because that guy he went Purdy at 5 and we double click Debo Ayuk and build out AFC. I think that's kind of the obvious thing.
Yeah, I think if you do Purdy, you have to be content in taking Kittle, and that's all right. If you don't want to get stuck with a Purdy Kittle, then take the receiver you want and hope Purdy comes back to you, and let yourself pivot off it if it doesn't.
I almost like doing Purdy, say, Flowers more than Purdy Kittle, but the only one drawback from that is there's teams that are going to have Purdy, Zay Flowers, and +1, like Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, like just with how many drafts there's been. That being said, how many of those teams going to advance? You will be at a disadvantage. So I don't like that as much if you're focusing that.
And it is so hard to push those 5 San Fran Baltimore teams through. So
last year, the 2-1 seeds made the Super Bowl last year. It does seem like the favorite for this year too. The way stuff's running out for teams like Philly with Miami, defensive players going down. We'll take CMC at 3.
That's
wishful
safe
thinking.
Assumption. Yep.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah. If it's
I've seen crazier things.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of drafters you have. Some people are afraid of that buy, but
I'm currently Josh Allen over Lamar in this spot at 3, but my arm could be twisted either way.
I've been drafting Lamar over Allen, but I've gone back and forth too. So
let's do it.
It's more fun trying to see what you can get when you go Lamar.
Oh, you can definitely get more rare combos.
Yeah.
If you're drafting Lamar, twice as much as you are Allen. Because some of these combos, you have to get volume with Baltimore to try to get, Kittle, say Flowers to fall, or Ayuk, say Flowers. But we see those guys drop like flies.
Yeah. Should have looked at who was behind us, knowing that probably wasn't going to happen, but Amon-Ra is a good consolation.
What do you think about going to Amon-Ra? Yeah, instead of Zay Flowers here.
I'd go focusing.
Yeah. And let's focus this Baltimore versus Detroit. I think that's interesting.
Hope Zay comes back to us.
These badgeless guys though, can we trust them? About to find out. Dude, he gets gifted CMC at 2 and then takes Dak from the CeeDee Lamb. Oh man. It's not the craziest thing in the world, but because they won't play each other until look at that.
Yeah, we got Zay.
Because they won't play each other until the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
But you're sort of giving up. You're giving up a number 1 on the other side of the ball, right? In the AFC. So that's tough. That's tough. Because you can't tell me you need Dak to advance, to the finals. You can't tell me you absolutely need CMC to advance every single week to the finals.
No,
there's gonna be pods where CMC isn't going to be in your pod. Yep. So
CMC, I mean, any of the buy ones they're hard to push, but what's Kyle saying in the chat?
Totally agree. He's not close to 100%, but he's generally reports film. Yeah.
Yeah.
What TD's all I'm asking for. You gotta believe. CMC 101 can put you in a hole, Charles says. Depends. If you're getting him at average 1 out of 6 times, you're making worse mistakes in other draft positions.
And his upside is just, I mean, don't need to tell anyone what his upside is at CMC.
Let's push Gus. I mean, these guys didn't go Zay Flowers, so if they go ahead and now they're like, oh yeah, I want that Gus piece. I'd be kind of surprised.
Well, I'm curious why Go AZ Cards is talking about why CMC at 101 puts you in a hole, but I mean, we're taking Lamar at 103. It's not like that's that different QB versus running back, but
yeah, QB points are probably easier to replace, but where you're only starting 1 running back, it's really not a big deal. Dude, Singletary still going behind Aaron Jones is so wrong. It's so wrong. You have Houston, who this is down from 2.5, by the way. Like, people are betting on Houston. So 2-point underdogs versus Green Bay 7-point underdogs. And this is actually down 0.5 point. So that should be noted too.
I will say I kind of agree with what Kyle was saying in the chat here too about push Gus because you want Justice Hill anyway.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with that. Do you want to skip over Likely in this position as well?
Who's the next Detroit piece? Montgomery, and we already have Gibbs.
Miami's not good
Nope.
because we're assuming Buffalo wins. Miami would play.
Cleveland's not good.
Cleveland's not good. We can go Buffalo and Kincaid as a 1 week piece, or we can go the other side of the ball. AJ Brown's gone. We can go Dallas. Nope, we can't go Dallas.
No, I'd go Kincaid.
We can go Philly.
Yeah. Kincaid trying to get us through the bye week here. So
Philly or Tampa Bay are also available for this team for one-offs.
Yep.
Or even if we want to build out a double, but it looks like Hurts is gone too. So
all right. AZ Cards is saying CMC 101 may not have any San Fran left at the 2-3 turn. You don't have any of the top pieces left, potentially, but you can build out the back end and pair it with 4 from an AFC team.
Yeah, which is fine. Which is fine. You just won't know, right? Like if you go Lamb at 1 and those pieces do fall, like sometimes Purdy falls, sometimes, Ayuk, Kittle, you do enough of them, and that's where like volume is really, it's an advantage,
It is.
Do you do 5 and you get lucky, 3 out of those 5 times? Maybe. And it only takes 1. But a lot of the times to get those rare combos, takes a little bit of volume, a little bit of luck.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, so Philly off the board Evans is off the board too.
Yeah.
So this is probably like a Shakir late. You want to just go Gus here? Or Andrews?
Sorry. Dead air. Great. Because I really want Hill is who I really want. So it's like I'd go Andrews and take Hill on the way back. I know.
It's tough. Tyreek Hill falling this far and having to skip over him. Oh, this is so sick to help advance the San Fran team. Yeah, I would do this, even though you're getting, 1 week out of Hill. Yeah. You probably, he still wants KC to win in the scenario.
Yep. But
unless he brings in Achan. If he brings in H, that's the thing. Like then you have 2 dead players going into round 2. So I would rather probably just lean into one side of that. Monty or Justice Hill?
Are we going to build out a second piece to it? If we are, Hill. If we're going to just rely on Baltimore, Detroit, then Monty.
And
I don't trust Crutches back there. Take Hill.
Let's go Hill here. Yeah. You can really go either way.
Yeah.
You can really go either way.
If Evans hadn't gone already, it's an even more slam dunk Hill to me. But
I like, man, we can add Shakir here. And again, we could get the maximum amount of games out of Buffalo and Baltimore. If Gabe Davis doesn't play, he could help advance this team.
Yeah.
But Waddle, you're hoping for 2 games. You're hoping they beat KC, so this is in play too.
Yeah.
And there's such a the risk tolerance is different, right? In this versus the mitten 4, where 3 out of 6 advance, you're pushing that a lot more of the time. Which one do you like better?
I like Waddle better. It gives us. We still need another QB here too, so it gives us.
Or do we want to go? Or do you want to do something like this?
I don't want to do Laporta on this one, depending on how many Detroit pieces we pick. Yeah.
Let's bring in Waddle. So we have our 4 teams, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the AFC Championship and NFC Championship game. Well, this is impossible unless the Bills lose. But yeah, no, it's still impossible.
We have 4 teams.
2 games out of Waddle's.
Yeah.
2 games out of Waddle's fine.
Yep.
Mark Andrews comes back that second week.
Well, actually, we might be looking at 2 games out of Kincaid if we want to go Tua. Right. We've got our option. Oh, okay, never mind.
and it's gone.
That.
And it's gone.
Goff it is.
Yeah. So the only thought on Shakir is if we go Goff, it'll open up. It opens up Buffalo. I guess it's opened anyways. 1, 2, 3.
We'd have enough Detroit
4,
pieces.
and then we would have a Detroit piece. So either way, whichever ones we like more, and you're probably leaning on the side of the QB in that situation.
Yeah, I agree completely. Now that I counted the pieces up, we could take Laporta because he's our 6 piece, so we don't need him this week.
Yeah, I like Laporta in this spot. I do think he should rise at least above the JMO piece.
Yeah.
Crutches being, he can't go a second Miami piece. He's really got to lean into one of. Okay, yeah, he goes Watson. It makes sense. Leans into Casey. Could have leaned into Houston too, but Casey with the higher chance to make the Super Bowl makes sense. I like this squad. This one turned out good.
Yeah. Can't get them all to the conference championship, but we're using Waddle to get us through there.
Pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Pretty damn close.
It's a fun one. I like it.
Crutches ends up with Brock Purdy, Kittle, Isaiah Pacheco, Rice, Collins, Tyreek, Montgomery. So he's got a little bit of a mixed bag, but it does have a little bit of purpose here. He's got to thread the needle with KC against either San Fran, or he has Houston versus San Fran.
Yeah. Well, and we know Crutches is playing at volume, so I like mixing in the Houston piece on it because I guarantee he already has Cleveland bet down. So,
dude, I've been drafting a ton of Houston. It's just they shouldn't be this low owned. They shouldn't be this low owned. It's not as 2-point underdogs. As 2-point underdogs in Singletary in, what do you think? 75% of drafts isn't being drafted?
Isn't being drafted, yes.
Right.
I would agree with that. I don't have much Houston, and I kind of think that's a mistake. And not kind of. I do think that's a mistake. There's definitely ways for it to break. My problem is seeing them get through either Baltimore, if they have to play Baltimore, or what's the other option for them?
So if the Texans win, they're either playing the Ravens or the Bills.
Bills or Chiefs.
If Dolphins win, they play the Ravens, and then the Browns would play the Bills. Or if the Chiefs win, then they play the Ravens. They've already beat the Ravens once this season. I think that was with Deshaun, and arguably Flacco's been balling out compared to Deshaun Watson. So,
but the Texans is who I have trouble seeing getting through there. Yeah,
blacked out. And
their dome team, and all 3 of those are going to be cold weather road games. So they definitely can produce.
Stroud's been balling himself though. Losing Tank hurts. It definitely hurts that team. Let's do a Josh Allen build here.
Yep. Yeah, Tank just came out of nowhere to overtake Nico as the number 1 on that team for a little bit, but Nico showing why why I had a lot of him in best ball. So
hell yeah. He's my favorite click in that 120 range. Okay. Let's do this. Let's go Ayuk here.
You will not get an objection from me. So
this is probably going to be Kittle. This could be Kittle too. Okay. Let's see. We need James Cook with this build. It's more important than bringing in Kittle, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. Because if you're playing the Buffalo San Fran Super Bowl, you don't have CMC as the running back. You at least need the other side.
And a lot of the times, like, this is the guy that'll get you, but we can also get sniped by the 2 spot if he likes. And if I'm in this 2 spot, I'm going James Cook over Tony Pollard here a good amount of the time. Because if you do get that Super Bowl, that is Buffalo versus Dallas, which running back would you rather have?
Yeah.
For me, it's James Cook.
Not Tony redacted.
This should never be James Cook.
That doesn't mean it won't.
Brings it all the way down.
There you go, Kyron. That makes sense. I like that, the Baltimore Rams.
Yeah. Yep. That's a common one. It is tough to want to go like Detroit here, right? With the Monrod, that piece already being gone.
Yeah.
So Rams, definitely good option in that spot.
What do you think? Like,
what are you doing with Philly too after?
I have been soaking up Philly. I don't love it at all, but I just know how high upside they are. With this build, I wouldn't necessarily be looking to Philly because I like them when I can pair Hurts with one of the bye week QBs. But
yep,
Allen is our bet. So got Detroit, San Fran.
Yeah, so Rams are out for us.
Yep.
KC's out for us. We can go Miami. Hill's already gone. We could go Detroit here. Detroit makes sense. Detroit makes a ton of sense.
Detroit does. Dallas would have made sense. Miami, like you said, but Hill's gone. No, going with Gibbs there. The hard part for me with some of these teams is like instinctually, like I like Montgomery over Gibbs. And I don't know why. I don't think it's right, but like this week, I think Montgomery is going to outproduce Gibbs if Detroit is moving on.
I think like 3/4 of the way through the season, they're like, all right, let's unlock Gibbs. Let's give him actually like a role in the red zone on the goal line. I think that's been detrimental to Montgomery, where he is not that guy every single time now.
Yeah.
I definitely lean Gibbs right now at this point in the season, but doesn't mean Monty can't fall in the end zone twice in a single game.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the craziest thing we've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm looking at their inside the 5 attempts, and from week 15 on, Gibbs 100%, 40, 50, 33. Yeah. So he definitely was getting it after. And if I remember right, there was a report that Montgomery said to put Gibbs in at the goal line when they were going to take him out, and Gibbs converted it. So
yeah, that was about halfway through the season, I want to say.
Yeah.
So around the halfway mark. Why'd he ever put that idea in the coach's head? No.
So he had 1 carry, it looks like, inside the 5 in week 3, and then all the rest of his are week 10 and on. So yeah, you're exactly right there.
We're on the clock. We can continue going Detroit pieces here.
Yep, that's where I'd go. Oh, Well, except for the.
It's early for these guys.
It is, but if we're building it out, we may as well build it. So, Laporta.
And then I guess we could go one of who? One of Houston versus Cleveland if we needed one-off pieces.
Yeah. If Nico's still there, and he just went, so never mind.
Yeah, we could have gone if we wanted to. Houston versus Cleveland. Amari Cooper already being gone. But again, you're looking for one piece basically to help you advance. You're looking for one piece. That could still be Mike. That could be Mike Evans, to be honest. You're assuming that they beat Philly, get 2 games out of them before they play San Fran.
Yeah, Baltimore is another spot we could go, right?
Yep. So. Likely gone. Odell gone.
Yeah, never mind.
Do you like Mike Evans here?
Yes.
With Kincaid, Laporta, double tight end, I think we're going to need a little pushing power for this one. Kyle, no, dude, my BRs have been slacking this week, man. My BRs have been slacking. I think I've done 12. Just been in the playoff streets.
I'm the same boat. I've been doing playoffs all week, so I'm at 15 to 20, give or take. I haven't maxed a BR all year, so
same.
I only got 65 in last week, and that was probably my highest actually. So
yeah, dude, that's since the kiddo, the volume has gone down. It's probably a good thing.
Yeah,
it takes so much time to get that much volume if you don't have a freaking.
Yeah. In this NFL season, I concentrated on the dog bowl. Like that is 100% what I was doing for the first 12 weeks.
Dude.
So,
well, completed that goal. So congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. I had sweats more than one other week. Just never came through. But I'd go Shakir here. I don't want to lose him.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Gabe, I'm still bringing in Gabe. You can get him typically in the last round, which great. Like, say he doesn't play the first week. Who cares? Say he doesn't play the second week. Who cares? If you have Buffalo going to the Super Bowl and you're saying he's going to play in the last game, you should be thinking about bringing him in. That being said, you can push him, which is nice.
Yeah. Do we want to add another San Fran piece if Mitchell's still there?
I don't think we absolutely need to. Because look at this. Like, we have 2 tight ends, Mike Evans and Shakir. We're assuming we're basically assuming that both running backs hit the lineup. One hits the flex, and then we need to start 2 of these guys, adding Jameson Williams in there. Let's say we don't have to add JMO, but if we're adding Gabe Davis and he doesn't play at the end, and then you add another San Fran piece, like if that's the plan, I'd almost go. So in this wouldn't make as much sense, right? Because then you're basically limiting your options in a Super Bowl by going both of these guys.
Yep.
How do you feel about these 3 in a combo?
I like it. I probably would lean Jameson as the one that I want because we do need to get out of the first round because it doesn't matter beyond that, right? Mm-hmm. But
so if we do that, then I think Gabe Davis becomes the next most interesting piece.
Yep. That's where I would go after. So the nice thing about that is we've got 5 Buffalo pieces then. So
yeah,
any Buffalo Super Bowl, you're at least live. It's not great, but you're live.
No, dude, Diggs has been he's been pretty lackluster. So we'll see if he picks it up in the playoffs. All year, not gonna lie, like all year, Buffalo, who they seem like a first round exit type team. At one point, they weren't even gonna get in the playoffs. KC, they look like a first round exit type team. That being said, the weather is on the side of KC in this Miami game. Miami's defense is decimated by injuries. You can see them advancing that round. How many are you trying to make a focus on San Fran Baltimore? Is that a heavy focus for you? Or are you just like, hey, let the draft come to me and I'll get as many combos of these
when the first round
one-off
breaks
teams?
when the first round breaks the right way, it is a focus for me to try and get them, and
I
then
agree.
just hope that I have a 5-leg parlay that pushes it through. Just because if both one seeds get through, that's going to be so rare to have gotten it that I would be kicking myself if I had passed up on it somewhere. So, I am making it a focus if I can get one of those QBs. So, which is one of the reasons going back, I have Lamar over Josh Allen for that reason. It opens that up as an option.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, it is tough. Like, so Lamar, Zay Flowers at 15. Oh shit, I lost it. There was no one available from KC, right? So it's like you have to almost try it. Yeah. And I think the draft before that, we went Amon-Ra. But again, if this is a KC piece and then you're pushing Zay Flowers, you have to push one of them, right, to get that combo.
San Fran piece. Because we went Amon-Ra over Kittle, I believe, if I remember right.
I believe so, yeah.
So, and that's like I like the Detroit side too, but I am a big fan of trying to get that when you can. That being said, I only have that.
Like, you'll see Flowers fall to 17 to like this range for the Purdy Debo team or Purdy Ayuk. And it's like, man, like, I've seen it. I'm waiting for it to happen to me. But those are the ones where like, that's why you do this. Because if it does fall, I don't know.
Have to snap it up and hope you can push it through. So
yeah, exactly. Oh God, we clicked on the pick'ems. Dear God, no. All right. You got one more in you?
Yep. I'm good.
Let's go. If you guys haven't already, go down, slap the like on the live stream, subscribe to the Pound, and give Chad a follow. Link is in the description to his Twitter.
Yeah, these playoff contests are a lot of fun. I really wish I had jumped on them when they opened. So next year, I know I will be. So
all right, we got crutches in this one. Oh shit, let's go. Devo Poker's here in the 4 spot. Crutches had 2 tickets, right? In the dog bowl?
He had 2. He did.
Absolute savage. Absolute savage. Connor had 2 tickets.
Yeah. Crutches called his shot on his second ticket too with his Josh Allen week. So
did he reach up for him?
101 on the team that got there. So, and I think Allen was going 7 or 8, give or take, that week too. So
Yep. Hey, Buffalo's in a must-win spot the entire end of that season. So yes, I know Nez loved Josh Allen. I don't think he ended up with Josh Allen, but he did love him. I think he ended up with Fields.
He did. He ended up with Fields
Flowers, or something.
I feel like he had Fields and DJ Moore. I'm trying to remember now.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. And I was drafting next to Nez too, and he's rocking the classical music. Go Lamar still. You're not classic. He was rocking whatever and could not hear me. I tried to like lean over to talk to him for a second. I'm just like, okay.
Dude,
you're in your zone. I'm going to leave you be. So
Nixon here. What's going on, my brother? Everyone was so in the zone, and I was over there just like, not completely shooting the shit, but someone selected Mingo. I'm like, Mingo! Shout out to Daniel, young cat. Still in college. He won a ticket off one draft, I think.
Yeah, he's a Carolina fan too, if I remember right.
Yeah. So maybe that Mingo pick, a little homer, lost him some money.
Yeah. Nez had Fields, Amon-Ra, and Cole
That's
Kmet.
right. And then DJ Moore got the rushing touchdown.
Yep.
All right. We can go. If I know, like, if this is like a badgeless spot here with CMC, I would take the risk of going Kittle and trying to get Flowers back.
You don't think Crutches will let that go?
Nah, we don't even have the opportunity to do it, so it doesn't matter. Let's go Flowers with this one.
Yep.
We'll mix it up.
And then
Prescott goes 2.
Yeah. Who do you like better, Rams or Lions? Like, which way are you leaning?
All right, so I am catching up. I am catching up on the Lions right now, but I was. It's like almost like FOMO right now.
Yep.
Give us a Monroe. We'll go Monroe
okay,
again.
yes.
We'll go Monroe again.
That makes the decision for us, but
yeah, because I'm cool with, like, if that doesn't happen, I'm cool with just going Kyron, getting Cup, Puka, and building out that way too. I should have more Lions than I do. I'm starting to have a little bit of panic, a little bit of reservation on a Saturday night, like trying to catch up on my Detroit Lions shares, especially with the news that Laporta is at least questionable to play and he's out there practicing. I was more worried about, okay, what's their round 2 outlook? What's their round 3 outlook if Laporta's not healthy? And the fact that he's already practicing, that's good. That's fine. Now I'll draft Laporta at a cheaper price than what everyone else got him at. I just, I'm catching up on those mittens by drafting nothing but gauntlets now.
I suppose that'll work. I'm the opposite because I was heavy on Detroit and now I'm trying to catch up and get Rams. So
got it. But, yeah. Hey, it doesn't hurt. I just sort of read into that injury that Laporta was going to fall. Now I should have been drafting him more than just, last night and starting today. I should have, drafted him.
It didn't look good though when it happened. Yeah.
No, it absolutely did not.
So, I mean, this is almost best case scenario for Dan Campbell.
Devo,
whatever you want to say, whatever you want to say about Campbell, he's got guts. He goes for it.
Let's go.
There you go.
Yeah. I had 7 players in that game in my Dalmatian team that was in the finals. Yeah. I'm like, dude, take this thing to overtime, please. Please. What sucked, 40-team final, end up in 4th, but 2 teams had the optimal of Lamb and Devontae Adams. 2 teams in that 40-team pod. The top 2 teams would have come in the top 5 in BBM 4.
Well, the odds of that,
pain in the balls. Can't go Rams here. Do you like to bring in? Want to bring in Andrews right here, or we can go someone like Nico's doesn't work. Mike Evans would work.
I think we're at Evans.
Okay,
just for the advance there.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. So,
we can come back and The Bucks would only play the Lions if the Packers beat the Cowboys. So we're good.
Yeah. Little cheat sheet. Everyone, link in the description for the Discord. Little cheat sheet in the Bestball cheat sheet section. This little star means that team cannot play the other team in the second round, making it, an optimal matchup or whatever pairing for whatever AFC and NFC. It helps me to have a visual. I have most of it down, but sometimes I'm like, wait a sec. I have these guys, and if that team wins, they're playing. Sometimes, especially on live stream, if you're caught in conversation.
Yeah, it's easy to second guess yourself. Adding that 7th team too added another variable to it because back 5 years ago, it was real easy to kind of process how it was going to play out.
So. Right. Yeah. Was it last year where the first round of playoffs was super lackluster?
I think that's correct. I think it was last year. I don't love these 7 seeds, and they have not won a game yet and are outscored by 80 points, and they just have not really added anything to the playoffs. So
Go Andrews here.
I'd go Hill over Andrews. What does Crutches have though? We should have looked at that. San Fran.
He's got
KC.
KC.
Okay.
KC.
All right.
Yeah. The public steam on Green Bay is hilarious to me, Kyle says. Hey.
Is there public steam on Green Bay?
Dude, they went down 0.5 point. So like they were 7.5 point underdogs. Now they're 7. So people are taking it. People are taking the points.
I have very little Green Bay. I have no faith in it.
I have no Green Bay.
Well, and I think so.
I have a little bit of Reed.
Yeah. My sheet that I'm doing is just like lineups with possible Super Bowl combinations. So like if I have 4 Baltimore and I tack on a Green Bay piece to get through like Jaden Reed, technically I put that in there. So that's probably what all of my Green Bay ones are that I have. So
yes, if it hits, is it, a potential huge leverage spot? Yeah, but man, are they really going to get through San Fran the second round? So
are they going to get through Dallas the first round?
I know. The fact that we're drafting, even think about drafting Green Bay, but like Houston pieces just go so severely underdrafted and they're only 2-point underdogs. That's where, to me, like the biggest leverage play is not maybe the biggest leverage play, but the leverage play with the best chance, right? Best case scenario. Oh shit, some pick'em just hit. Shout out to Drew. Maybe 2 pick'ems hit. Oh shit. Drew is an absolute machine. In our Discord channel, in the pick'em section, he told me he's up, and he has Pickett, that app that just tracks every single bet, up like $11,000 this month, doing like $50 and $75 bets. He started at like $10. He started at $10, and he's worked his way up, and he's very consistent with each bet. It's just like insane. I'm like, dude, you're gonna have to quit your job. He's like, I work from home.
It is a perfect combination if you can get it. So
pretty cool. Let's go JMO here or Laporta.
How many pieces do we have already for this week? I'd go JMO.
Yeah, we probably need this guy to play. Waddle wouldn't. They would play Baltimore, right? If they win,
they play Baltimore week 2.
We did this with the last one. I think instead of doing that, is Godwin still there? And we could lean into this with already having a Tampa Bay piece.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I do not have much of that. So I like going that route.
I like just making that bet, right? Let's say it's a Mike Evans week this week, or maybe it's a Godwin week this week against Philly. And then next week, if it changes, you don't even need him to advance the week after that. But Bucks are the 4 seed. If you get the Rams to win, they necessarily might not even be playing San Fran the next round. So
they could jump over to the Cowboys.
Now, who would you like better? Assuming that these two can get us to that following round, would you rather Sam Laporta or?
I'd rather have Laporta for next weekend on.
I completely agree with that. That being said, we should be able to bring in JMO too, but we'll see what happens. If not, I wouldn't be opposed to bringing in Bateman, who's pretty much.
I'm gonna say we need a QB. So.
Oh, come on, you don't want to do solo Lamar?
I don't think that's a wise advanced play here. So.
Oh, it's definitely not.
So,
but do we have enough? Yeah, probably not. Sometimes with the right roster construction, you're like, I have a pretty good amount of ceiling. You can try to test it. But
I think we're dead without.
Do we have a secondary matchup? We don't. So we're heavily leaning on Baltimore getting there, which is fine.
But we've got Baltimore, Detroit, or Baltimore, Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
So.
This was a fun one. The second,
it was a different,
second. Okay. This is probably. I would prefer this build maybe more in the mitten 4, where it's 1 out of 10, 1 out of 10. I think this Godwin piece, although you're not going to advance as many teams by going JMO here, most likely, I think that would have been a better pick, and that's my fault.
Possibly, but
we're leaning on that Detroit, Gibbs getting there, Amon-Ra getting there. Evans would have to get there because we only have. Yeah,
we're narrow in our route, but I mean, no matter what, we're narrow as we're going through here. Like the only way to advance.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I like the Tampa piece for a secondary matchup there. And to your point, Evans and Godwin, they don't often hit together. It's one or the other. So
right. And if you're making that bet on Evans, if you have 60% or 30%, whatever it might be, over the average exposure, 16.6 or whatever, you should be bringing in Godwin in a good amount of those. I'm not saying every time, but if you're making that bet that, maybe there's a possibility they beat Philly and you can get 2 games, you should also try to get 2 games out of Godwin there too.
Yeah, definitely.
Chad, fun time. I'll definitely have you back on anytime you want. Do you have anything to say to the people before we head out?
No, it was great to be on. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me on. And yeah, let's do it again sometime.
100%. Investor Better says
tailing. Yeah, I need to start tailing. So
he uses Odds Jam. So I used it, didn't have as much success, but again, I can't be trusted with pick'ems. I'll be like $15 here, 35 on the next one. He's so consistent, and it's probably just a numbers game.
Isn't that the key? Like keeping your unit size the same? And I am terrible at that. It's like, I gotta raise it. So
100%. All right, guys. Appreciate everyone coming out. If you enjoyed tonight's live stream, slap the like on the way out. Join the pound. Sub if you haven't already. Give Chad a follow. Link in the description. Pounders.